So one of the things I did in this Somewhere Over the Rainbow arrangement was I played around with the idea of stride feel or piano stride. And I just want to show you a couple things that you can explore related to this stride idea. So let's start with playing each of the chords with the root in the bass, and then trying to find the third and seventh. So for example, for G, you could do that. That would be root, seven, third, right? Or you could also do third, seventh. Anyway, hopefully we'll chart this out for you, but this is kind of what it might sound like if I were to do stride feel as a pianist would with the root of each chord in the bass. And that is sort of a standard progression to the song right there. Now, let's look at some variations of that. So what we could do, let's say that if we wanted to do some bigger voicings, I could try to do the G chord like this. So we're adding the 9. Or I could do, so we have the major 7, the 5th. Let's see what other things we could do. We could even do, so that has an implication. Same thing for the, now for the E chord, if I don't want to play it with the root, I could use the G as the root for my E minor chord. I could do that. For the B minor, we could do a minor 11 like that. That's with 3 open strings. Or we could do that, which is a minor 7 voicing. Back to our G7. That's a nice G13, a G7 with a 13. And again, we'll have these written for you just so you can see some of these alternative voicings if you wanted to do stride feel. And we have, let's say, C major 7. We'll add the 9. And we'll do D sus, which looks like a C triad over top of D. And then if we want to do, let's say, B minor 7 flat 5 with the 11 in the E, we could do that. And then for the E chord, the E7, we could put the 3rd here, which allows us to get an extra voice, right? And then we have a nice voicing for E7 sharp 9. You can see how I finger it there, 1, 2, 4, 3. A lot of these shapes in these types of chords are going to be awkward at first or feel really difficult to grab. And I would just encourage you to not worry about if they're perfect intonation-wise. Just give yourself time to just play the shapes, and over time, you'll be surprised to see that you can start to then focus on the intonation. So those are some more advanced voicings. And there will be other examples that you're going to see in some of the transcriptions just from the way that I treat the melody. But I just wanted to give you sort of a head start on some of these voicings. I think you get a lot of these, a lot from these ideas. Now, also, what's really fun to try to do, and what I tried to imply in the solo, although I didn't take tons of time on it, was this idea of doing stride and accompanying yourself at the same time, right? So I don't remember everything I did in the final version, but I'm just going to give you some ideas of how I would play around with that. So, now you can hopefully see what I was trying to do. And I think it's the kind of thing that you could work out, and you could also work very slowly improvising. I'll just try one more time just to see what I can do if I do it really slowly. So it's tricky. I think it's the kind of thing that you really want to take a lot of time to work out. You can probably see that I'm not really, it's not that easy for me, but I think it's something that could be pursued. And obviously, if you worked this out, you could come up with your own variations on it. And also, the point, I guess, of it is that this is another way to accompany someone if they're taking a solo, is to do this kind of stride approach. And obviously, whenever you're accompanying on the violin, you kind of have to be sensitive to the fact that we're not really low down in the bass range. So this might work better for a cellist. At the same time, I still think there are instances where it can be really useful or effective. Now, I also just want to contrast it briefly with another way of comping, which would be to just do, over this ballad feel, which would be, like that would be a nice way to comp, with a sort of a brush down here. You could probably do it also like this. This would be nice, I think. And obviously you could do strumming. So, right? So any of these would apply. I just think this is a slightly different than the stride approach, because you have this bong, bing, ba boom. You have that in the stride, whereas with the strum, it's very steady and consistent usually. And so again, those are sort of different levels of ways that you can approach not only accompanying in duo, but maybe accompanying yourself. So hopefully this is something helpful in terms of pursuing your different strategies.